The people have the stories. The people know. Even when the people are not allowed to give value to those stories, the people know that the stories exist.
Most of my exposure about African American history have been through the eyes of Hollywood. The movies that we watch, the news media that is being given to us, and sometimes we realize that these are not necessarily true. They're just stereotypes and a bunch of stuff that they feed us for us to understand and see it.
Working with people who are like me, not just me, like me, but like working with people who are Black is something that's very important to me, because I feel like we need more people of color. We need people who understand our struggles and understand who we are.
I'm from the Democratic Republic of Congo, and oral tradition is remembering of the past, also help us like build the present and also shape better way for the future. In Western knowledge system, this is not something that is valued. This is not something that is seen as important or legitimate enough. And it takes being in a society that's use oral tradition or another variant of oral tradition to understand how important it is.
One of the key takeaway that I've seen from that different scape is the words you use. You can say a word that can empower, we can say words that can break. I think that the dynamics or the difference being from Africa but still being Black and being in the community where there's local Black folks here has actually made me to not see African Americans in that light that I've been exposed to mostly by Hollywood. And going back there, I feel like, oh well, we didn't have all of these. So if you're here, I feel like everything is a bed of roses, everything is bright and beautiful. But now being here, I feel like that's not exactly the case. There's still a lot of work that needs to be done.
I think it prepares you to see people as human. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have classes, we have projects, you know what I mean? But there's not a lot of community. Like, you're learning to be professional in the real world, in community, not just an internship where you're also still in that constructed business environment, but you're out in the field with people and you're learning how to conduct yourself with others.
There's tractors on the road. Sometimes a cow will get out or two.
I was born and raised in Big Spring, Kentucky, a teeny tiny town. We were only two African American families, my dad and his sister. I guess we lived maybe about a block apart.
We lived on the farm. We had chores when I got home from school. We had chores we had to do. When we get off the school bus, had to go and do some quilting. It was waiting for us to do. Yeah.
It's very, I feel like it's very quiet. It's very, everybody's pretty much to themselves.
Dad farmed. He worked with the white farmers on their farms. Mom raised all 8 of us kids primarily till we got grown. Then she also cooked for the white families later on in life. Dad had a garden. Yeah, we used to raise all our own food. All around us were farms, tobacco fields, cornfields. There were pig farmers, cow farmers, any kind of farmers. We were surrounded by it.
Everything goes, it's like a routine.
We had chickens. We had to gather the eggs. We sold chickens. And we had to clean them if anybody had put in an order. Bring in wood, because we had wood stoves. Well, we had a TV, but you was only going to watch the TV when they said, my parents said, watch TV. We had a playtime, but we had work we had to do before any of that happened.
Like, it's diverse, but like it's very like restricted at the same time.
So it's like some people's parents wouldn't want their kids playing with me or playing with my cousins and stuff because we're Black kids and they think we're going to influence them to do something or something like that. Like there was a lot of kids we played with that we wasn't allowed to play with, but it wasn't as bad as it could have been. It could have been worse, but it could have been better at the same time.
Well, small rural town, it's predominantly white community.
The county's small. which is not really a small county, but like they don't think black people live here. Like we see you, but like we're not gonna acknowledge you, but we see you, we know you're there.
Looking back, all my friends was like white in school. It was just normal because, like I said, you'll go to like the same elementary school, same middle school, same high school. So you're around the same people for 12 years. So just normal to me.
When it came to friends, I'm lucky I had all of my cousins. We all went to the same school, so I didn't have to worry about friends. But outside of them, I didn't have a lot.
Well, everybody had their problems, but for me it was great because I played sports. I played baseball, basketball, and football, so I was well known and I enjoyed it.
By the time that I got to high school, Ditto was a household name when it came to sports. Because we were an athletic family, people knew who we were.
You know, a few of us that I guess excelled in education, they were fine, and the ones that not, and then if you didn't play sports, then you know you were just kicked to the curb. And even if you played sports, I played girls basketball, and we had a coach. He really didn't let the black kids play. We called ourselves practice dummies. Because, you know, as long as we was practicing, it's fine. But when it came to the games, he still didn't let us play. And one of our classmates, she had transferred to our school, and she was a starter, and she was good. And he didn't let her play. And so our team didn't win. It wasn't like we were winning. He wasn't winning with the people, but he played his friends' kids, and they were white kids. We got beat terribly, but he still wouldn't allow us to play in the games unless he got so beat, then he would put us in there. We had enough. So we went to our principal and said, well, look, there's three of us. We said, we're not going to keep being practice dummies. We're not going to keep doing this. So we quit. Then the principal came to us and said, oh, okay, no, don't do that, go back. So we went back. It didn't change. So then the last time we quit, and it was our senior year, so we could have lettered and everything, but it just got to the point, we were just fed up. It wasn't fair. So there was a lot of unfairness. I'm not saying all teachers were bad, all school experience was bad, but there was some things that should have changed.
Like, I'm glad we didn't have to go through a lot of the stuff that they had to go through, but there was some stuff that we did still have to go through that they went through.
It's an experience. You have very different walks of lives coming together. So I guess it's the southern part of the county maybe. They're raised very differently in their beliefs. I mean, it's gotten better over the years, but that is where a lot of your negative racist comments and attitudes would come from. When I was in elementary school, it wasn't that bad. I don't think I ever heard anything bad. And I went to Flaherty Elementary, which is going towards Radcliffe, Vine Grove area. Middle school is when I first encountered the N-word. Luckily, there was an adult around, so I didn't react in a negative way. It was the only time I heard it in middle school. I think it was just because they was like, oh no, we gotta kill this out. So there was, disciplinary action was taken, and then they put it out there. Hey, that word is not allowed. We're not tolerating it. Zero tolerance. We went on through middle school, no problems. High school, that's when things got kind of bad. I adopted if you call me that word, I'm gonna hit you because it's just like you slapped me mentality. My mom actually raised me. She was like, if they call you that word, you have every right. Oh, you ain't said nothing but a word, baby. So, but I didn't get in trouble. I caught them on the low. But I did stand up for myself. By, I guess, junior year, I really didn't have any more problems because I was known as that person that will pop you if you say it. So that was the end of my problems as far as with the other students.
Well, back then, a lot of the work that you got was like, on farms, doing hay season and tobacco season and doing maintenance work around. The black men, they either had been working on farms for people where they would give them a little house. They family, the man, their family would, live in this house and do the garden, all the work on a farm, farm work, which, it's a whole lot of things you do on the farm. The women I know did like housework, and babysitting and things like that. After they got up older and you got up, I guess, to get a car or something, then a lot of people worked at Fort Knox, at the when Fort Knox was really booming. And then basically you did manual labor. That was the reason they said you didn't have to go to school. You don't have to have an education. They was thinking in terms of you're black, and in this area, the only jobs you're going to get are, for manual labor. So you didn't have to further your education. You learned how to read, write, and I guess do some math, and that was all that was required, because you weren't going to get any jobs that required education.
My mom, Mary Dorothy Ditto Taylor, she passed away in February 2024, but she was born and raised here too. So she's from here. She's also part of the group who I learned later in life that she couldn't go to public school in Kentucky, in Meade County, because she was black. So after 8th grade, they all drove to the boarding school, Whitney M. Young, and so they would leave on Sunday and then go to school and then come back, stay the week and then come back and go again, catch rides, ride together. And I have since met other colleagues, other educators. We'd just be talking about Whitney Young, and they're like, my mama went there. I'm like, your mama went there? And to learn that in Kentucky, after 8th grade, like black children couldn't go to high school. They couldn't go to attend a public high school.
In Brandenburg here, I went to the 7th grade. And when I passed the 7th grade, I went to Louisville so I could go to further my education, because, then everything was segregated. You didn't, after the 8th grade, if you were black, you didn't have to go to school. I mean, I went to a 2-room schoolhouse, one teacher to teach the 1st grade to the 8th grade. What can one teacher do for all different ages? Some in the 1st grade, some in the 5th, 6th grade, some. In those 2 rooms, we basically learned how to read, write, and do math. We learned the basics. If they wanted you to go to school further, then they would have to provide a place for you to go to school. They did give us the elementary school, but further than that, after 8th grade, you were through with school, unless you went to to the boarding school, Lincoln Ridge. Maybe 2 or 3 years, I think they had a high school in Hardinsburg, but you had to catch the bus and go if you didn't have transportation or couldn't afford transportation. I didn't have someone to take you. You could go to Hardinsburg. I don't know how many years the high school was, black high school was at Hardinsburg, but there was one at one time.
We had an outhouse. We did not have running water. We had a cistern at Zion. Well, when I graduated and come to Meade County, we had bathrooms. You had water. Yeah, it's different. It was different.
At times it wasn't comfortable because, especially when we talked about history, we talked about slavery, and people, they tend to have the, believe the stereotype things about black people. Sometimes you're fighting against that to make yourself, to be seen as an individual and not, we're calm, we're cool, just like you. You don't bother me, I'm not gonna bother you. I can get along with anybody. Yes, I'm smart as you are, and I think that's the one that really got him. How did you score that high on the test to be the one to represent us in FBLA and accounting? Quit being smart. I am smart. I said, I'm done. Yeah. Yes, you are smart, boo.
As a black girl growing up here, we get looked past. Like, nobody would think that, she would be in college courses in high school. Nobody would think she would take honor classes.
I started co-op in high school, so I worked in the local bank Meade County Bank, started at First State Bank, and then they built a bank. So I worked all through school. I got a scholarship from Meade County Bank, from really First State Bank, but they own all the banks, Meade County, First Point. You know, they own all the local banks. And so I would come home. And so one summer I was coming home to work, but I also wanted to take another class. So I had to get permission from the dean of accounting to be able to take this kind of class, because it was a higher level class at University of Louisville while I was working, because I didn't want to stay on campus. And he was reluctant. And then I still to this day have not forgotten his statement. He said, he looked at me and he said, "I'll sign it this time, but you people never finish anything." And that has been a driving force for me of, are you sure you belong? Are you sure you're in the right class? You people never finish anything. And so it's always like, I'm going to prove them wrong. And that was one of the things I started telling my students, like, don't be a statistic. Prove them wrong. You know, prove all the people who think you can't learn, who think you can't behave, who think you aren't intelligent. Prove them wrong.
Unlike most of my cousins, my mom actually went to college and also graduated. A lot of them, their parents might have went for a little bit, but like also the fact that she graduated, so a lot of them are just like, oh, I think unconsciously, sometimes they feel like, oh, well, you think you're better than us because you went to college, but you also went to college because your mom went to college. And it's like, no, what I wanted to do required a degree. Like, I wouldn't have took out $100,000 worth of student loans just because my mom wanted me to go to college. Like, there's so many other things I could have did with my life and my time. Like, it's not one of those things that my mom just forced on me. Like, it's genuine. Like, I actually hate school, so that's the ironic part. So it's one of those things that it's just like, I wanted to do it. So I put in the time, I put in the effort, like, worked a bunch of jobs while I was in school, did a bunch of internships, and now I'm here.
How do you do that? Very carefully. Yes, no, like I said, I basically stay to myself, stay focused on my studies, didn't get involved in all that crap. If I had to, I will defend myself. I would turn into that angry black person that you want to see. Plus two, what helped a lot was my brothers. They knew my family members. My brothers were, so by the time I got to high school, my brothers had already been there. They played football. They all loved my brothers. They had no problem. All the teachers knew my brothers. I had some of the same teachers that they had, so it was not a problem with the other teachers. Most of the students, no, they didn't bother me either.
We always knew that, you know, education was your way out. Majority of our kids now are black and brown children, but the majority of the teachers are white. And you come to class, and then, you know, the kids are acting up, because some of them don't understand. And they come from, you know, even if in the urban settings, because that's one of the schools that I started out, is an urban setting. And, you know, some of the people don't understand the dynamics of being in poverty. You know, you come in middle class, especially the young 20-something-year-olds, they've all middle-class families, and they see these young kids, they don't understand. I was in the police department. I was a domestic violence detective. I saw some horrible things in households that went on. And that's the one reason why I kind of got in education, because after I retired, then I went to the sheriff's department, and then I left and I was a community liaison in Jefferson County. That's where I lived. And then I realized that so many of our children cannot read and write. It's unfortunate. My passion is that the kids that come in my purview, that they don't leave my classroom not being able to read and write and go to the next level.
Whenever we would go over slavery according to the textbooks, I would contradict the teacher, and I would, of course, get sent to the principal's office. My grandfather was Leanna's great-granddaddy. My grandfather, he was very adamant that you know your history, know where you came from, you know exactly how it happened, not the washed-down version of it. Whenever they would give me the washed-down version, I would be like, no, this is actually how that happened. This is that, and so I would always get in trouble for correcting the teacher, because their reasoning was we're not allowed to teach what's not in the textbook. So I had a report that I did a really good in-depth report on. Went to different libraries, got all the information, like turned it in. I literally got an F on it at first because they didn't like it. It was too detailed. and it proved them wrong on a couple of points they had made in class previously. They sent me to the office, or no, my mom went to the office with me. That grade went from an F to an A. Once the principals reviewed it, they said, you cannot do this. So, got reversed. Yay! I passed the class with flying colors after that. You know, that was I think I would say the worst experience was to know that my teachers were against me and not for me.
My son had this one teacher. It was, he's in AP classes, but I don't know, he was getting a D and it was yearbook. I was like, I don't understand how he's getting a D in yearbook. He's not getting a D in his AP classes, but he's getting, and she says, and so I said, I said, my child's not a D student and I don't understand. She said, well, I just want him to understand this is not an easy class. Grades are not supposed to be punitive, and you're not gonna, I don't understand that this is not working for me. And so I went to, I think, the counselors. I was like, this is a, and I told them, look, our child is not a D student, and a D in yearbook is unacceptable. I don't understand. And I said, I didn't know grades were supposed to be punitive. And so if this is your book, so she can, if he's not doing the pictures that she wants, I mean, because it's all subjective. So how are you, if it's just on this group of pictures, how are you grading and mastering saying this is, and to me, that's subjective. So my husband and I, we wrote, because my husband's a retired educator. It's like, so of course he didn't get a D. I think he wanted to put a B or something, but I was like, not going to happen, not going to fly. But the thing is, if you don't advocate for your child, you don't have people to advocate for you, then that's what happens. Because had we not said it, my son went, and then she says, she said others. So I don't know if all the students that she was as example, were they were African American, I don't know, but she was a white female. So I don't know. In Jefferson County, that's why we have the program we are. You know, if you can't empathize and sympathize and put yourself in them places, and all you're seeing is these kids, but you don't know our kids. What do you mean by these kids? They're still kids. The thing is, they're still kids. And so, are you going to, are we going to have our mirrors up and and not, because these are still kids, and then, like it says, all said, they're still kids. So, yeah, they have behavior issues, but like you said, we don't know what these kids did prior to coming to us in our classroom. And so,
they never really, they pushed college with all the other kids. They would ask me what college I was going to. I never was taught how to apply for college. I never was taught anything about that. And I wasn't interested anyway, because it was just more school and I was not the school person. I like to live my life out loud. So school was not for me until I found out I should have went, because I was like, man, I could have really lived out loud. But I probably would have flunked out because I'd have been partying too much, real talk. I was just like, yeah, school is not for me. I'm done with school. Like, no. Grandfather even offered to pay full tuition. I would not go. That was just not my cup of tea. And I hate to say it, but one of my children has followed my footsteps. Now my other one he wants to be a surgical nurse. He has talked to a school counselor, and we still don't know the first step in applying for college, applying for scholarships and stuff like that. I actually had to reach out to a couple of my little cousins to help me out on, hey, what do I need to do? Hey, what I need to do? Hey, what I need. He'll be a senior next year. What I need to do? So they're helping me get that together and start it and everything like that. So that hasn't changed.
Well, I always had a very outspoken personality. I wouldn't say being the center of attention, but I always had people eyes on me, always, I'm the bigger girl. My skin color is different. My hair is different. Sometimes it got kind of, I guess, tedious when it's when other girls my age want to touch my hair or want to, oh, mom, why is her teeth so white? Or why is her gums purple? Or this different physical characteristics as a kid kind of made it hard.
It's kind of uncomfortable because people make you uncomfortable. You're the odd man out. They make you uncomfortable. On movies, there's a little black girl on Polar Express, and for some reason I looked just like her. Oh my God, you're twins.
I mean, after a while, I started acting how I wanted to act, and it wasn't the best. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was just doing what I wanted to do. I wasn't listening to nobody. I didn't go by nobody's rules. I wasn't listening to nobody, what nobody said. So it was like, if you feel a certain way about me, you feel how you want to feel. Like, say what you want to say, but I know who I am regardless. So like, if you're really going to do something, do something. If you want to say something, say it. But if you're not going to hit me in my mouth, leave me alone.
We used to go to the skating rink in Radcliffe instead of like doing something here because they looked like us. They didn't make you uncomfortable, you know, like everybody was the same. We kind of just went other places. Not even just going to Radcliffe, but in 9th grade I lived in Jeffersonville with my granny. And I come from here in Meade County, and in Jeffersonville it's like a diversity pot, you know? I was culture shocked because like I was used to seeing just white people everywhere. And like even then, like I was in shock. I didn't know that schools went like that. And for some reason I gravitated towards the white girls, and then the black girls came and got me.
I think for us as the black community that we were a community. Everybody did everything together. So if one family was having something, we all came together, we all participated.
Because we're all family, so I've learned a lot from a lot of my elders and a lot of my cousins that are my age. And we've learned a lot from each other, and we've been there for each other whenever we needed each other.
My family was we were pretty close. If we need like, if there's like any kind of situation, I just go to them. We very much like try not to bring a lot of attention to ourselves. Like we just trying to, but not like lay low, be like underneath the radar, but like, you know, just keep our peace. Yeah.
Most of my cousins here have stayed here. Whereas like even the ones that like we're all related from this area, like that live in Louisville, more of them like have gone out. And whether they come back to Louisville, come back here, like, so it is kind of one of those things that's like an unintentional barrier, I guess.
Because so many of my family members live in the area, I think it's easier for me because when I come home, I'm always connected to somebody. So if something's going on, I'll be like, oh, I'm tag along. For the people that dispersed, that don't come home that often, it's almost like you're visiting a new country because it's like you're starting all over.
Some people just don't care too much for they talk about Kentucky, but it don't bother me. You know, it's really what you make of it. Now the families they just separate. They don't have the close knit like they did back in the 60s and 70s like we did. Because, you know, we all got along. We had our little fights, but hey, our brothers and sisters, but we all got along. But now it seems like they can't get along with each other. That's the only thing that bothers me. I think it's because a lot of them had a tornado come through in '74, wiped out everybody. And the Habitat for Humanity came through and built everybody brand new homes a lot. A lot of people lived in shacks, and a lot of them is living together. And I think that's why they don't get along. Because there's never been no war, and they don't think it's anything. I guess they probably realize something better on the outside, but they won't leave. They want to stay right up under their family. And they just don't get along with each other at all. A lot of them. It's just, only time you get people together is a funeral. I said, that's pitiful, y'all. Y'all got to do better than that, you know. But I try to get them to come to church, and they got their little hangouts and everything. And I go hang out with them, but I don't drink, and I don't do the things they do because that stuff is old, you know. There's no future in it. But I guess they got to get their bottle or whatever and have a good time so they can communicate with people and act stupid.
When they get a few drinks in them and they start talking back when they were young, I loved it. My dad, my uncles, and it's like, and you wonder why your sons are the way they are.
The people are still the same. You can go to the grocery store and it's like being in high school all over again. Because pretty much everybody either works at the grocery store or they're at the grocery store. Like you walk through the aisles and you'll see about 10 people that you went to school with. As far as that goes, everybody's still here and they haven't changed. But then when they see you, they're like, oh, okay. But you're like, huh.
I mean, it's Meade County. Like, you know, we got the people that's underneath the influence. We got the country bumpkins, you know. We got the the family to family, you know.
Meade County will always be here. It's not going anywhere. It's always going to stay the same. The same people, when you leave and you come back to visit, they're going to still be doing the same stuff in the same place. It ain't went nowhere. I'm speaking from experience. Been there, done that. Went to college, came back. Well, not really that far in college. Left the state for 17 years, came back. It's pretty much still the same. Everybody just got older. And they still doing the same thing. It really hasn't changed in that aspect. I can say that.
When we were growing up, everybody had a nickname. So as you get older, people, or they pass away, people start using their real names. And you'd be like, I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is. And you'd be like, yes, you do. And I was like, no, I don't. But then when they used the nickname, I was like, oh, that's their real name. But I think talking about it and being aware, because with me leaving Meade County for so long, when I come back, it's always nice just to run into people that you haven't seen in a while. So then you'd be like, who's their mama or who's their daddy, just to kind of gauge who they are. And now there's a lot of younger kids that I'm like, oh, okay. It's almost like if you lose it if you don't use it. As far as like my immediate family and my friends that I hung out with, you know, we still keep in touch through social media and all of that, but everybody else you don't.
I think a lot of my cousins, especially the ones that are my age, were kind of starting to realize like, okay, the older generation's getting older. It's like our Aunt Helen, who's been doing family reunions at her house for quite literally probably my entire life, if not before that. It's like, okay, she's, if not 90, super, super close to 90 or above. And it's just like, okay, clearly we can't keep doing it at Aunt Helen's house forever. Clearly, there's no reason why her at this age is still getting up at 6 a.m. at family reunion day to cook breakfast for the entirety of all the cooks. And then it's like still being out there all day, doing this, doing whatever, trying to figure out, make sure all the plates and everything are together. So one of my cousins, BJ, probably like 3 or 4 years ago, he started hosting one at his house to try and help still keep us all together, but also have an alternative location so we're not just keep piling everything on our older family members, because it's becoming too much for some of them.
It's changing now. Folks are moving in now. I guess all kind of folks, I guess. That was a new company that moved in. And so houses are being built all around the place. And who they are, I can't tell you who they are. I couldn't tell you. Their community is changing. New jobs are bringing folks in. Or they bringing them with them, or whatever they do.
One thing I don't like about it is people are, I guess a lot of our people, is they lazy, they don't want to work, and they losing everything, and they just can't see that the white people coming here buying everything up and taking all the land. Where I'm from out there, and we had probably about 100-something people out there used to live out there now. Probably got about 30 now. And they don't want to work. They, you know, most of them on the welfare system. They can't afford to keep up their house and stuff like that, you know. And they just got the priorities mixed up, you know. You gotta work and pay for what you got to keep it, but they're not doing that.
There is opportunities, but it's not as much as it could be. Yeah, you probably have to move, but there's still stuff that you could do to support your family and make money. Just depending on your skin color, you could still get a job. Like it don't matter if you're black or white. Some places will still hire you, but then there's still some places out here that, you know, are run by those old people that don't want black people in their stores. Or now it's 2025, so they still have to sell to you, but they won't hire you.
The only history I was taught first was slavery. And then my sister got into it and I learned a lot more about, like, it's not just slavery, you know? So I feel a lot more connected than I did like going to school. Because at school, when they talk about slavery, like I said, it's uncomfortable. Everybody's looking at you. But learning like that we can be successful and that things were successful for us and how we overcame a lot of things. And I just plan on spreading that knowledge with my kids, letting them know actual history, letting them actually hear history, read it, the real history, not just slavery. And then they've got good people around them to help me teach them those things. So I'm pretty sure they'll be set in history.
I'm kind of like, their stories kind of similar to some stuff I've experienced, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying like, oh, I've been through the same thing. But it's interesting to see that it's such a similar experience all the way over here in Kentucky. I don't know, when I thought about Kentucky, I would have never thought it in that framework. Because like being in the South, like, oh yeah, it's expected. Those types of behaviors towards Black people is expected, especially when there's very few to maybe one family in your county. But like here, it's Kentucky, it shouldn't be as bad, you know what I mean? In Berea, it's not. But I'm listening to the stories, I'm doing the research, I'm reading and looking in the archives, and I'm like, oh, there was some stuff going on, and it wasn't pretty.
Some of the methodologies that being an ethnographer, coming to this community, how we interact with the people that we come in here, make sure that they trust us, and we create that accord so that they know that the information is safe with us. We make sure that we've been intentional about how we handle their data, their confidential data, making sure that it's safe with us, and then we've been very professional, even though we're college students as well. And also the time that we spend in different archives. We went to Louisville, and then also we went to University of Lexington, and then the Berea Archives and Special Collections. And with all of that, the trainings we got handling these archives and special collections, even here today and yesterday, handling all of these artifacts. So I think it's all of this that we put in place that makes the whole interview or like the research experience what it is.
The average uneducated, non-interested person will just be like, this is a rural community where there is not that much to see or to live for. But those stories are counter-arguments to those very biased claims that are out there. And those are not things that you can easily access, that you will see out there, because the Western knowledge system does not have any interest in not utilizing but embracing this way of documenting life, this way of documenting people's efforts, documenting people's achievements.
It's important that they know where they come from, that they'll be able to expound on it as they go through life, and they can tell others.
I got a lot of positive feedback from meeting with people, passing out flyers and stuff like that. A lot of Black women was like, I'm so happy that, you know, there's a Black woman that's educated, that's wanting to like give back to the community in a way that's going to benefit their children. School covers some things, but they don't cover a lot of things. And the things that they do cover is not all the way, I feel like, correct. To have somewhere that's going to focus on us, not just, you know, American history, is our history. Our history matters too.
I was so excited about this because when I found it, I was like, one of our own is exploring this. Who knows the space?
It's just so great to see somebody from our community that we actually know doing so well, putting together a project and doing it with excellence. Yes.
That they can see positive influences, it's always a good thing for our children. So I just think it's a great opportunity for our community.
It's great. I love it. I'm so excited about it. I'm thrilled about it. I'm proud. It makes me proud to know our history, because our history encompasses so much, and we only know what people tell us. And, well, we know what they say, but we need to know what we say, what our own people say about our own history. If we don't hear it from the horse's mouth, we don't know what's really true and what's not. And they're only going to tell us what they want us to know.
One of our own is here to tell our story with us and for us, that I don't have somebody else telling our story. And that made me proud.